Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Jacob.
And we're watching Star Trek for the first time. Last time on Star Trek, last time was William Shatner being weird as hell.
Yeah, well, it was the William Shatner movie.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It wasn't good, no.
Every other time we finished a smaller journey within our larger Star Trek journey, it's been like, the original series, the animated series. There's always the promise of more adventures with these guys immediately after. So I'd be sad that, I'd finish one era of Star Trek.
Like when TOS ended and we had TAS, like immediately, the next recording session.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, this sucks, I'm a little sad, because I really like TOS,
but
for the most part.
Here are all the people that I love still. Like, here are all my familiar faces. I still love them.
And Mr. Erickson.
Mr. Eriks.
Mr. Eriks, yes.
Eriks.
Mr. Eriks.
Who should make an appearance in this final film, The Undiscovered Country. We're watching The Undiscovered Country today. We're finishing our TOS adventure, really.
Yeah, we are. Which is interesting. Because for a lot of people, they would be doing it while they're doing their next Star Trek adventure.
I suppose. You know what's really funny, actually?
What's
is
that?
Literally 2 days ago, we got a comment on one of our earliest videos.
Oh, really?
No, you gotta watch only the first 4 movies, and then do the last 2 in chronological, or in release order. And I was like, look, man, it's too late.
We're well past that.
We're already here, but also, fuck you. I know for a fact these take place before TNG still. So,
even if they didn't, and, we had planned these, that's literally, a year ago.
The only thing I was warned about is that apparently, I guess, a TNG character shows up in this at one point.
Which, honestly, in terms of, its contemporary release, makes complete sense.
Exactly, yeah. So, I don't know who that character is, but the comment warned me, no, you guys, you gotta stop! You can't do this, man!
The 5th one had nothing I needed to worry about.
Yeah, unless it was there and we just totally missed it. But with this one, yeah, they're like, there's a TNG character in this. I'm like, yeah, but
wouldn't they be super young?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, either that or it still takes place before their appearances in TNG. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
right.
Fuck it. We're finishing this. It's over. We're gonna get into post-film thoughts in a second. Be sure to join us then. We're about to watch Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. I'm just sad.
Yeah.
I'm just sad. Sad, fulfilled. I loved it. Wrath of Khan's still the best one.
Wrath of Khan, best film.
But
in terms of wholeness, the TOS journey has come to an end.
It's over.
As Kirk said in his ending monologue.
Yeah. Look, I know I joked about that guy telling us that we should do them in release order, but I found this so much more fulfilling for me going into TNG. If I had just watched Undiscovered Country and then gone into TNG, I feel like I wouldn't feel the same way having this come later. Watching it, I guess technically where it's supposed to take place, felt better to me. Mostly because it is the final full adventure that this original crew did together. It feels great because of that. But also this is definitely the one that does the most work to be here's what's coming in the world of TNG.
Right. It does the most heavy lifting to explain how we get from the TOS movies to TNG.
Yeah.
We have actual peace conferences, assassination attempts. We show that there's various sides to this situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Both on humans and people like Spock. We see that there's just animosity amongst various groups, amongst various factions.
Yeah. What hit me though right from the start of this?
Yes.
Was for Gene Roddenberry. We watched our first piece of Star Trek post Gene Roddenberry's death, which feels fucking surreal. That was the weirdest thing about this, was just seeing that oh wow, that's at this point where we're at. I mean, we'll be going back to the early seasons of TNG.
We're kind of going back in time, next.
But this was our first time when his maybe I wouldn't say his loss was felt in the film, because I guarantee he died the same year this came out. So I doubt he didn't have a hand in this at all.
I would very much doubt that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just like it just feels weird. And in many ways, also just sort of contributes to perfectly capping off this era of Star Trek for us.
I agree.
Yeah.
How does Star Trek begins with an idea for Gene Roddenberry? How does TOS end? Not necessarily with the death of Gene Roddenberry, but they're very well timed.
Yeah, it's really fucking sad. It really is. And as much shit as I've given Gene Roddenberry over these many videos that we've done together, God, it still makes me sad.
Listen.
And also, he created Star Trek. On one hand, he can't write a script to save his life. On the other hand, he's a fucking visionary.
Right. He captured lightning in a bottle, but he can't pull a little bit out.
Yeah. Oh, man. never say that Star Wars and Star Trek don't have that much in common. Because goddamn, their creators have a lot in common. Okay, anyway, wow, we gotta actually talk about this thing.
Yeah, we actually talk about the films.
Oh man, you know what I'm really sad about also this movie is that Sulu doesn't spend the movie with the crew, which I'm kind of sad about that.
So our one goal is not technically fulfilled.
Yeah. It's alright.
He shares one scene where he's theoretically in the same room.
But also Sulu gets some of the best moments in this whole movie. I fucking loved, first off, his introduction. The fact that he's Captain Sulu now is fucking perfect. I love that. Little things that like Sulu watching the sentencing of Kirk and McCoy by the Klingons. I loved that moment. I loved basically Sulu giving his one crewman hush money to not tell anybody what Kirk is up to. I love it. It's so good. He will always protect that man.
That whole crew would have seen that through the films mostly.
Yeah, right at the end up to the whole Kirk is like, you're not even supposed to be talking to us right now. Sulu's like, I'm sorry, you're breaking up, sir.
Right?
It's so good. That's so good.
That TOS crew will do anything and everything for James T. Kirk.
Yeah. As they fucking should. I mean, maybe they shouldn't. He's James T. Kirk.
James T. Kirk has a very spotty record, if we're being pedantic about his record.
Yeah.
But as a person, I could see why they'd follow him.
Mm-hmm. So Klingons is really what this movie is about.
Yes. It's about folding Klingons into the Federation.
Yeah, right down to our TNG character appearance here is Worf, who is a name that I recognize. I recognized it in the credits. They said Michael Dorn in the credits, and I was like, I know that name somehow.
Yeah.
I might have seen it floating around the Star Trek space before, and then they said General Worf in the movie, and I was like, okay, that's got to be the guy then.
Yeah, that's got to be him.
And yeah, so I think that's really cool. He's also the only Klingon in that room defending Kirk, which is really cool.
He is the defense attorney essentially.
Yeah, he's a public defender. Yeah. But I love the idea that the Klingons, if they do not stop their pretty much their history, their culture that they've lived by for so many years, their empire will die out in 50 years, they say.
I think it was already because didn't the energy place explode?
Mm-hmm.
And they were having this whole environmental crisis, so they had to change their culture as was.
Yeah. But now they actually have to start reaching out to the Federation more, and they have to become part of the Federation basically in order to keep surviving. It's a really cool idea, and one of those things that I don't know. Again, knowing that there's a Klingon, the Klingon that we saw in this movie, on the Enterprise. I think it's still the Enterprise in TNG.
I think.
I guess it is based on what Kirk says at the end.
Based on the facts of being decommissioned.
But I don't know. I just find that fascinating. I really love that. Right down to I found it really interesting that Kirk. Early on, I was like, is that not a character for Kirk? His random racism against the Klingons, and I was like, that doesn't make much sense. And then he places down the picture of David on his desk, and I was like, oh, that's right, Klingons killed your son. You see, I wouldn't remember that, Kirk, because the second he died, we forgot about it and didn't talk about it for 2 movies straight.
Right.
So
I mean,
there's that.
I get it. I get what the movies wants to do there, and I think they did it well enough that I didn't really question it once I understood what the motivation was.
Yeah. Oh man, so also on Spock, let's talk about Spock in this.
Yeah.
Who plans for this to be his final voyage in the Enterprise.
He plans to retire, much like a lot of the crew, it seemed.
Yeah, they all were sort of planning the end of their careers. there's even this beautiful scene, one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie that I had to write down. The bit where Kirk and Spock are kind of joking with each other towards the end, but like Spock is like, "Have we just outlived our usefulness? Like, what are we still accomplishing? What is our purpose here?" I don't know. I love that scene. I really, really love that.
Because I mean, if Spock can recognize that they've gone on for this long, they might not be nearly as competent for the new job as they could be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why the stated goal of Kirk's initial monologue, like the opening to TOS, is the 5-year journey.
Yeah.
So you don't get stale. So you don't get stuck.
And instead McCoy says during the Klingon trial, he's like, "I've been serving on the Enterprise for over 27
years.
27 years. You know. The idea is, and it's sad to see, but you know the characters are literally outliving their usefulness. It's fucking sad, but also it's one of those things that I love seeing about characters like this, is just like setting them in a bit more of a grounded setting where it's like, okay, yeah, they don't just the adventure doesn't just go on and on forever. It comes to an end, and it's sad to see, but there's something so fulfilling about that too, like seeing the more human side of those characters, especially when it comes to someone like Spock. I think it's probably the best moment regarding humans towards the end of this movie. But we'll talk about that at the end. Back on Klingons, though. David Warner is back in this movie, not as the same character that he played last movie, but instead in a very impactful role I found this time.
Yeah, I thought so.
He plays a Klingon.
He's the chairman of the High Council?
I say chairman, I think, yeah. Or congressman, something like that.
I think he's the chairman because it's Madam Chairman when the daughter's now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So he's the, which I guess is the highest leader position?
I guess. At least of that ship.
I guess. Like, he's a high dignitary is the point.
Yeah. And so he's one of the Klingons that truly believes in peace and a prosperous future for the Klingons and the Federation together.
And I think the idea is that he's, like, roughly the same age, generational type as Kirk.
Yeah.
Because he has that moment where he's like, us, the younger people, they get it. Mm-hmm. But we have a harder time adjusting.
Yeah.
After they've had a very strenuous dinner where they kept quoting old literature at each other.
Yeah, and also just the Shakespeare thing that kept going throughout the movie that I really enjoyed, actually. Yeah. And I guess I have a personal story to share on that. I was in a production of Hamlet once, actually, and somebody brought in the script of Hamlet in Klingon, and I was like, oh, haha, that's funny, whatever. I didn't know Star Trek at the time. Right. Now that I'm watching this, I'm like, oh my fucking god, it's an Undiscovered Country reference. The idea, because they say, like, if you read it in the original Klingon, it's just like, that's...
What's that? You never truly experienced Shakespeare until you've read the original Klingon?
Yeah.
That's easily its reference.
Yeah, it's fun. But also, what a fucking nerd that guy was. Anyways. I love him. I really do. Anyway, so there's a traitor on the Enterprise. It's unfortunately a mystery with only, like, one suspect.
And especially after you remember a very specific scene.
Yeah.
So, what was her name?
Valeris. Valeris is our new Vulcan lieutenant on the Enterprise.
And she's part of the crew that foresees, like, the dignitary and his party entry on the ship.
Yeah.
And after they leave, we kind of keep the camera there a moment as two random people walk on set. Mm-hmm. And she's like, don't you have a job to do?
Yeah.
And they walk away.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, like, her being, like, the only, like, new prominent character in the movie, like, it's like, okay, look, unless you're gonna, like, pull, like, I don't know, a Scotty's an evil mastermind or something, you know, like, which nobody would enjoy. Nobody would like watching that.
And she especially has, like, some spotlight on her, because Spock, like...
Oh, yeah. Spock,
he sponsored her, I think, is what he said.
Spock is like, hey, like, I'm leaving. I would like you to pretty much replace me. And she has this great one where she says she can't replace him, but she can succeed him. Which I love that. I love that, just, I don't know, that little turn of phrase. It's great.
But we've also, in that scene, Spock has a very good point that, like, really is the absolute cap of his character arc. Logic is the beginning of wisdom.
But it is not the end.
That is the
I love these characters. I love them so much.
That is the peak of Spock's character arc.
I love it.
We also did in this film get a reference to Spock dying already again.
Yes. speaking of dying, David Warner dies, and it's a really
Yes,
tragic.
back to
Actually,
that.
one of the hardest scenes in the movie is McCoy trying to save David Warner's Klingon character. Fuck it, just I don't know, brilliant moment because he doesn't know Klingon anatomy. He doesn't know exactly how to save him.
And you know what though? I always question. So I question sometimes when we watch the original show and some of the movies. Does McCoy know anything other than humans? And the answer is no, not really.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that gets touched on in this movie is that the Starfleet doesn't really like go outside of humans. Spock is a very rare exception here.
But I also had a thought that he has actually no reason to know Klingon anatomy. They've been their enemy.
Yeah.
He has no good reason to know how to save one.
Yeah. Not only have they not been allowed in Starfleet before, they can't even be like taught. It's a cool idea. I don't know. I really love that. It's the reason that Warner's character dies in the end. And I love that moment when he says to Kirk, like, "Don't let it end like this. Don't let this be the end of this relationship," giving Kirk that reason to go on, to push back his own against his own prejudices and save the day in the end. It's great. It's
as Captain Kirk always did.
Yeah. Speaking of, Red Foreman is here. Kurtwood Smith is in this movie. I'm so fucking happy. He's got a questionable costume, but I love him.
Questionable is correct, but it is fine.
Yeah. But I don't know. I love him. He plays a Klingon, one of the heads of the peace talks and all that. He's lovely. He's also Kurtwood Smith. He doesn't change his voice or anything. It's just Kurtwood Smith. He knows how great he is.
He's just doing his thing.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Do his thing. Klingon trial. We talked a lot about that already. I do like the idea of the translators though. The little boxes they kept holding in their head. The idea was they established it early on in the scene that like, oh yeah, there are these other Klingons translating on the sides for the people talking in the room and sending it back to Kirk and McCoy as they're there.
And everyone in the room is initially speaking Klingon.
Yeah, but then for the sake of brevity and also because it's going to be a long ass scene, everyone just starts speaking English in the room just to be like, okay, look, we could take the time to translate all of this, sure, and have the little beats in between, like the person talking and Kirk responding to it because you have to get it translated, or we could just make it a cool scene because you get some great character moments out of it and some great intensity between these characters.
And they also they don't forget.
Yeah,
it's not English either.
Yeah, they call it out towards the end of the scene too. It's a really cool little logistical thing about the scene that I just really enjoyed. I like that little attention to detail. That was lovely. That's also where we get the recording of Kirk, and we realize it has to be someone on the Enterprise, and that's when I was like, Valeris, the only new person on the Enterprise.
Especially considering when you watch that scene, I thought about it. After you rewatch that scene, she's standing in the door the whole time.
Yeah.
As he's doing his personal log.
Yeah. Anyway, so the whole like Kirk and McCoy in the mines thing was weird, wasn't it?
A bit.
It was a weird segment.
I mean, it has to happen because we need time for the Enterprise to suss out who the traitor is.
Yeah, and also like in I guess, and also like this being the movie that properly sends off the TOS crew, it does also, in my opinion at least, give us a little bit of like proper send off to these characters, mostly in regards to some of the weird shit that Kirk used to do in the original series.
Yeah.
It gives him a Kirk versus Kirk doppelganger scene, which I really, really loved. There's this shapeshifter that Kirk kisses at one point, once again in true TOS Kirk fashion.
But unlike TOS, as far as I can recall, he is called out by McCoy.
Yeah, McCoy. McCoy's like, what is it with you? Like, what the fuck? It's so funny.
So we get that.
Yeah.
They escape by the help of a shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
And then he fights the shapeshifter because there's a target on his back already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all been prearranged long ago, presumably.
Yeah.
And he has his doppelganger fight, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great fun. Also, during the whole mine sequence, we get that great bit where Uhura is talking to the Klingons on the other ship.
Yeah.
And she has to, like, pull out the dictionaries for, like, English to Klingon.
Don't they have, like, a couple dictionaries out?
They do, and it's just, like, I love the subtitles, and they're just ever so slightly off.
Right.
Just funny that, like, they have to, like, laugh together. It's a really funny scene. I don't know. Nichelle Nichols still gets a scene to shine in this movie. It's lovely. That's fun. I loved Spock quoting Sherlock It's and also a Klingon quote Sherlock towards the end, which is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know, just like that bit. And then also, oh man, we're running really long on this one, aren't we?
No, I can't see the timer.
Fuck it, let us. I don't care.
This is the last TOS conversation we're gonna have.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, Scotty is stalling in the warp drive. The whole. I'm trying to think of the dialogue because there's some great dialogue about it too.
Well, because they've already used the excuse of backup power being wrong.
Yeah, and Spock is pretty much just like, it'll take a while, right? And Scotty's like, no, it won't. It'll take a while, right? Yeah, it'll take a while.
Couple weeks at least.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it is.
And Spock's like, good, Mr. Scott.
It's so funny. I love it. I also love the bit where Kirk and McCoy get saved from the mines, and Kirk's about to get some information out of this Klingon guy down here.
He's like, all right, well, you're gonna die anyway. Might as well tell you who it is.
He's like, oh, well, the person that hired us is... And then they get beamed up, and you hear Kirk go, son of a bitch! Goes on to the Enterprise, bitch! It's so good. It's so fucking good.
I think it's an appropriate time to comment on the fact that we've now seen Spock in command.
Mm-hmm.
Like in this film specifically, if you think back to his first shot at command, and all the way back in season 1?
Yeah.
Like, it's really different. A lot experience has changed it.
Yeah, definitely.
And
that's character
and
development.
that is, like, but actually though, like when
we gotta put that on a shirt someday, and that's character development right there. Anyway, yeah. So then the two guys that Valeris was working with turn up dead, so they deduced that it's Valeris that sabotaged them and all that.
Because well, who else was it going to be?
Yeah. And then the rest of the film becomes this fun little like shootout above this peace conference that the Klingons are having with Starfleet, and the Romulans are there too apparently. Which is fun.
They've been part of it. If I recall correctly, they've been at least part of Federation talks since the last film.
Yeah.
So in universe time, that's now a while, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know exactly how long. I just know it's been at least one movie that we know the neutral zone hasn't quite been a thing anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did have that great scene. I forgot to comment on it. I kind of alluded to it in my notes here, but I wanted to comment on it. The Kirk's fear of the future and the neutral zone being gone.
Yeah.
Which I really loved that idea, that fear of that. I'm guessing that's a thing in TNG, which is why they set it up so specifically there.
I would assume so.
But I guess, it's kind of implied by a Klingon working on a Starfleet ship in TNG.
The fact that there's... Actually, I'm really curious now that I think about it. Who are going to be the common enemies in TNG?
I'm not sure if there will be.
We've eliminated...
You know what there is?
Yes.
I guess the only like other big Star Trek baddie that I sort of know about by name are the Borg.
I know of them.
I think they're a TNG thing, but I don't know like how known they are at that point, or if they're like a whole new villain, or like I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting into with that.
It just occurred to me
I only know the name
because it's just occurred to me that like we've eliminated a lot of the staple villains.
Yeah, but also we didn't know many Star Trek big villains going into it, so. I don't know.
That's
going
fair.
into this entire video series, I should say.
And also worth pointing out, I suppose, that like it's not to say that every Klingon will always agree with the decisions that have been made.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, just some thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, first to say that Christopher Plummer's in this. He plays the bad guy Klingon that gets blown up towards the end. It's quoting Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant. It's Christopher Plummer. He's awesome.
I loved that. It was a really good effect, I thought, too, when the ship gets hit with the gas detecting torpedo.
Yeah.
And then Sulu and Shatner just blow the shit out of the ship.
Yeah. Scotty saves the day by taking out the assassin that's going to disrupt the peace conferences, which is lovely to have there. Oh, also forgot to mention, I don't even have her in my notes here. I should have her here. Janice is on Sulu's crew.
Yeah.
I love seeing her. Janice should be here. And again, another great way to send off TOS properly. And then I stopped taking notes after Scotty saved the day, because I was so enraptured by the end of this movie. It's such a perfect send off to these characters. The Enterprise needs to be decommissioned, and Spock says, if I were a human, I would say go to hell. If I were a human, of course.
And everyone looks to Captain Kirk.
Where to, and he delivers his final captain's log about someone else taking over and them going into that undiscovered country, and It's fucking brilliant. It gave me chills, and I loved it.
And
it's fucking awesome.
Like, and I know that's done because TNG was already a thing and well going at that point.
Yeah, we're 4 or 5 seasons in by the time this came out. So.
Right. So like, to TNG fans, that's just like, oh right, we need to acknowledge them. But as like, as someone who's not there, as someone who isn't time traveling to watch these things, like. This is just a really special moment for these characters specifically.
Yeah.
Because Captain Kirk, a man who has fought to maintain control, is able to finally let go.
Yeah. And that's character development. Well, that was Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And as such, our journey with the original crew of the Starship Enterprise has come to an end.
My God, I know.
I'm so fucking sad.
And it's a different kind of sad too from like Wrath of Khan, which was like just legit like
but even then, like, we knew there were more adventures, and now there just aren't. And I know I'll see these characters sporadically again, but not like this. Not together, not having adventures through the stars over and over again, and they can't go on forever. Of course it can't go on forever. But part of me just wants it to. Just a small part of me.
But it can't.
But it can't.
Unfortunately.
And that is the beauty of the future, or the undiscovered country, as one might say. And I am about to flip this page of my notebook to the first TNG one.
Oh no.
There it is. We're going to be taking a break in recording.
Yes.
We're going to be taking an unfortunately long break in recording, but honestly, I feel like we kind of need it.
I think so.
Put some distance between our criminal attachment to these characters. And let us go into Star Trek The Next Generation afresh.
Because I do feel like if we went right into a TNG thing, it would be very unfair to them.
Yeah, we might be like, oh yeah, this is fine, but it's no fucking this or whatever, you know? Yeah. Also, forgot to mention I loved the signatures at the end.
Right? I thought that was such a nice way to do what is really their final credits.
Yeah, we get so excited for DeForest Kelly's credit, and we were so lucky we got 2 in this one. It was great. Anyway, so, like I said, we're taking a break in recording. However, we're recording these so far in advance, you guys don't have to wait.
Right, that will literally make no difference for you.
Literally in 1 week's time, or I guess potentially, depending on where our Patreon goals are at the time of this coming out, maybe sooner, I don't know.
In around about that time.
Being, the next video coming out on regular schedule is the beginning of our journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Wow. Wow, that feels weird to say out loud.
That is very weird.
But here we are. And I'm excited. I know you're excited. I hope you're excited.
I'm very excited because I'm criminally attached, as you put it.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited to learn a new crew.
Yeah. I can't wait to go through whole new adventures.
Because when I started this, I was skeptical of how attached I would get.
Yeah. Well, we didn't grow up with Star Trek. Right. We just kind of grew to love it in our 20s. Like, come on.
But now that I'm here, I'm excited to know more.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope all of you watching at home are excited as well, because it's been special.
This has been very special for us.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks for coming on this journey with us, guys. Plenty more to come. But until then, this has been Joey Morgan.
I'm Jacob.
Goodbye.